Okay, now we want to animate our character. So before animating our character, we will modify the interface a little bit. Uh, will not need this toolbar, so I will just click and shrink it like that. Also, we will not need the names of the bones, so click on the bone icon, on the armature icon, and then just disable names here, okay? Because there is too much inside the 3D view and I don't want to be confused by this. So I removed that too. And then we have the timeline already here. So we will not, we don't have to create another timeline, and we need to create the specific timeline for the bone system. So in the split area here, right click and then click split area and then split it by half. Okay, so I have now two 3D views. I will change this 3D view from here to see the top sheet view, and top sheet view is a timeline for the bone system. In the top sheet menu here, click on the action editor. Okay, so basically I want to create a new action, and what is this action for? It's for creating a walking cycle, and by walking cycle we means one walk. So in order to create one walk, you have to create to add to make five basic poses of the walk, where your right leg is moving forward and then returning back to the central point, the second pose, and then going backward, the third pose, and then return back to the central pose, which is the fourth one, and then going forward again, the last pose will be the same as the first pose. Okay, this is the walking cycle, and then after creating this action, the walking cycle, we will be repeating the walking cycle and make this character appear like he is walking actually. Okay, so in the action editor here, I'll click new to create new action, and then rename the action to walking, just walking. Okay, and then hit enter, and then click on this F. Okay, so I have now the action walking, and I am going to make the poses here over the timeline, and you see here numbers. So 0, it's on the frame 0. In this green area it's 1, so basically my handler here is on frame 1, and this is frame 20, frame 40. So let's zoom in because I need to see 5 frames interval. That's good now. So 0, 5, 10, 15, that's what I wanted, because I will make a 5 frames interval between each poses. Okay, each pose. Okay, now I need to be in the side view. Okay, so for my character, I will centralize this character here. I will click on 3. Now my character is centralized here. I start doing the first pose. As I said, for the left leg, I need to take this controller and grab it using G, make it forward like that. Okay, and then for the right controller, make this leg like that. Rotate R, rotate the leg, and then the lowest central bone. Of course, when the body bend forwards, that will decrease the height of the body. So I will hit G and make like this. Okay, and try to keep the body in the central Z axis. Okay, let's take the controller and make it a little bit like that. So that is the first pose. Okay, so that is the first pose. After I create the first pose, I need to save this pose or record this pose on the timeline. So make sure that you are on frame 1, and then taking your mouse over the 3D view, you have to leave your cursor inside the 3D view while clicking on while hitting these short keys. Um, Click A, again A, to select all the bone system. Okay, I forgot something here. I forgot to move the arms. So I need to move the arms first. So I will click on the controller of the arm, hit G. Of course, the first arm, the left arm will be moving backwards. It's an inverse movement for the arms in relation to the leg. So the left leg is moving forward, while the left arm will be moving backward. And for the right arm here, I will hit 9 to see the other part. For the right arm, I will move it forward. So I will click on the controller, grab the controller, make it like that. Hit 9 again, a numpad 9 to see. Now I think the first pose is good, so I will hit A until I select all the bones, and then hit I to record. Okay, so why it's creating this menu? Hit escape button to see. Okay, we didn't identify what kind of record we want, so we need to identify the key from here, from the bottom. So click on this key, and then we need to we are changing the location of the bones and the rotation of the bones. So we'll click on our location rotation. Okay, so I clicked on lock rot now, location rotation, and then inside the 3D view, while my cursor is inside the 3D view, I hit I. Okay, so here are the keyframes, the first keyframes. Okay, and now the first pose is actually recorded. Okay, the second pose, let's go to the second pose here. So I need to be on the frame 6 because I will make 5 frames interval. So I created the first pose on frame 1. I will create the second pose on the frame 6. Okay, now I will move back my left leg to the central point like that. Okay, and then rotate back the leg to be like that. Grab it to the central. I will grab it to the center, but it's raised up a little bit because it is going to create the second movement. So the second pose will be like that. I have to take the body upward, all the body upward, because he's standing now. Okay. And then take my right arm to the central position. Take my left arm to the central position. Okay, so I put everything in the central now, except this right leg will be starting the second pose. I will hit A to select all the bone, and then hit I to record the bones. And I'll see now the pose is recorded. If I click and drag, I'll see the first animation now. Okay, I need to create the third pose. The third pose will be basically an inverse pose of the first one. So the first one, the left leg is moving forward, and the right leg is moving backward, and the left arm is moving backward, and the right arm is moving forward. I want to invert that. So basically, I will copy all of these pose, and paste it in an inverse way. How can I do that? So click A here in the first pose. So go over the first pose, and then click A to select all the bone system, and then Control C, okay, to copy this pose, and then go to frame 11 now, because I need 5 frames interval, and then take your cursor inside the 3D view again, and then hit Shift Control V, and Shift here is will paste Shift will paste your pose in an inverse way. Control V is the basic shortcut for the pasting. Okay, so Shift Control V. Okay, so I inverted now this pose. I have to record it, so I hit I. So I recorded this pose. If you see now, it's working. Okay. Okay. The fourth pose is basically going to the central position, but this left leg will be starting the second pose. So I have to inverse the second pose here. So click A here, Control C, and then go to frame 16. Move your cursor into the 3D view. Hit Shift Control V. Okay. So I pasted that in inverse position, then I hit I to record that. Okay, and in order to create this smooth walking cycle, I have to make the last pose will be exactly the same as the first pose. So I will just copy the first pose and paste it as it here in the frame 21. Okay, so click on the first pose, Control C, and then click on the last frame here, 21, and then go move your cursor over the 3D view, and then Control V. Don't use Shift Control V. Use just Control V, and then hit I. So now I created the walking cycle. Okay. In order to test this walking cycle, I need to remove the extra frames. So here is basically corresponding to this one. So this yellow lines just describes what I have here. So yellow lines, that means that there is a keyframes here. Okay, and I need to remove all the rest of these frames. So you see here the end is 250, which is not accurate. The frame 21 is the last frame, so let's change this value to 21 and hit enter. Okay, so I have now this walking cycle composed of 5 poses. If I clicked play here, so he's moving now. Okay, if you want to slow down the walk, just make an interval that is higher than 5 frames. For example, you can use 10 frames interval. That will create a slower movement. Okay, so I will click pause now. Now we created the animation, the walking cycle here. I will just leave this video to this part because I don't want to spend too much time in this video. I will move to a next video that will create a walking over a path. Okay, so we create the walking cycle. We need this character now to move over and follow a path. So we will be creating that in the next video. Thank you.